The cameras flash, the crowd freezes, and just like that, Hollywood has a new obsession.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine stepping away from the real world for a few weeks. You hand over your phone. You are completely isolated in a tropical reality TV villa, right?
Right. Totally cut off from everything.
Exactly. For a solid chunk of time, you were just entirely cut off from the cultural zeitgeist. And when you finally step back into reality and turn that phone back on, you discover that millions of strangers on the internet have collectively decided to assign you a brand new identity.
Wow.
One that you never even claimed. One that isn't even true.
That is just wild.
It really is. Welcome to StarScope Report.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is centered on a headline that literally broke the reality TV internet. The headline is, Love Island star finally responds to rumors about her sexuality.
Oh my gosh, this story operates on so many different levels.
It really does. We are looking at the fascinating, chaotic, and honestly super revealing story of Beatriz Hatz from Season 8 of Love Island USA.
Right, because she is a history-making Paralympic athlete who stepped into this villa only to become the center of this wildly invasive online debate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have a really rich stack of sources guiding us today.
Right.
We are pulling the timeline from pop culture outlets like E! News and Us Weekly.
Yeah.
We're also digging into the athletic mechanics from a thorough sports profile in the tab, a razor-sharp cultural critique published by Hippolytina, and, of course, analyzing Beatriz's own words from her viral YouTube video.
I mean, our mission here is really to trace how an elite athlete's unique background collided so violently with standard reality TV tropes.
Right.
And why the internet chose to aggressively write fiction about her instead of watching the genuinely compelling reality playing out right on screen.
But, before we can even understand why the internet misunderstood her so badly, we have to look at who she actually is.
Oh, for sure. Because she arrived at that villa in Fiji with a resume unlike any reality star before her, like ever.
Literally never seen before.
Let's look at that background, because it is legitimately staggering. We are talking about a 25-year-old Chicana woman from San Diego.
Yeah.
And when she walked into the Season 8 villa on day 1, she made franchise history immediately. She was the first Love Island USA contestant with a physical impairment.
Right. But even the term physical impairment barely scratches the surface of what she actually navigated.
Not at all. She was born with a rare congenital condition called fibular hemimelia. Essentially, she born missing the fibula bone in her right leg.
And the medical reality of that is just intense. When she was only 10 months old, she had to undergo a below-the-knee amputation.
10 months old.
Yeah, it wasn't just one procedure. According to the reporting, she endured 11 different surgeries just to be able to walk properly.
If you think about the psychology of that, experiencing your own body as a site of constant medical intervention before you can even form memories, it completely shapes how you interact with the world.
And she has been incredibly raw about the emotional toll of that, She wrote that growing up with a limb difference is not for the weak.
Yeah, can't even imagine.
She described going from this happy toddler into a really sad, depressed, and angry little girl. And the catalyst wasn't just the surgeries, it was the relentless bullying.
Which is such a crucial detail. She was bullied for something she had zero control over. And she explicitly noted that adults were often just as damaging as kids.
The pitying stares.
Exactly, the looks of discomfort. It created this profound sense of shame, like she refused to wear shorts in public until she was 17 years old.
That is heartbreaking.
She spent her whole adolescence trying to hide this fundamental part of her physical reality from a society that just couldn't handle looking at it.
But then comes the pivot. And this is where her trajectory reminds me of, like a cinematic superhero origin story.
Oh, totally.
The very thing society tried to make her feel weak about became the literal foundation of her power. And it all started with a high school bet.
I love this part. A friend bet her about who could make it to the varsity level in sports first.
Yeah.
And that friendly wager basically pushed her to take complete control of her physical narrative. She experimented with everything: basketball, karate, skiing, soccer.
It's just searching for a place where his body wasn't a medical subject.
Right, a place where it was an instrument of capability. And she found that in track and field. Her high school coach recognized this raw talent and pushed her to the Paralympic level.
And her ascent was so rapid. By 2018, she was named the U.S. Paralympics High School Female Track Athlete of the Year.
Insane.
Then she secures a spot on the USA team for the Tokyo 2020 Games. And then she goes to the 2024 Paris Paralympics and brings home a bronze medal in the long jump.
A literal Olympic medalist.
But wait, I want to pause on a specific mechanical detail from the tab profile that blew my mind.
Oh, the blade thing?
Yes. For a long stretch of her early career, she was competing on a prosthetic blade that was designed for an athlete who weighed about 30 pounds more than she did.
The biomechanics of that are staggering. A carbon fiber running blade acts like a specialized spring, right? It's designed to compress under a specific amount of force.
Yeah.
So if it's calibrated for someone 30 pounds heavier, it won't compress properly when a lighter person strikes the ground.
So she was basically running and jumping on a completely rigid stilt. She was absorbing all that shock directly into her joints.
Which is just wild.
When a prosthetist finally fitted her with a blade calibrated to her actual body weight, she said the difference was like jumping on concrete versus jumping on a trampoline.
It perfectly encapsulates her resilience. She was competing at an elite national level using equipment that was actively fighting against her, and she was still winning.
Yeah, she told an interviewer that when she lines up at the starting blocks, she sees the other competitors looking at her. Like, oh, it's the kid with one leg.
And her internal response is immediate. I have to gain respect. She forged all that childhood trauma into this impenetrable athletic armor.
Now, she proudly states that being different is beautiful. But, I'm struggling to bridge the gap here.
How so?
Well, you have someone who spent years cultivating this elite mental discipline. She trained her brain to ignore the judgments of strangers. And then she drops herself into the Love Island villa.
Oh, right.
An environment fueled almost entirely by chaos and superficial judgments. It feels like taking a chess grandmaster and throwing them into a chaotic game of dodgeball. How does she function in a space designed for frivolous reality TV?
It is a jarring shift. On the track, success is binary. You are judged by a stopwatch. It's objective reality. But in a reality TV villa, success is entirely subjective.
Completely.
You are judged by the highly volatile court of public opinion. She brought her authentic self to the screen, that exact same prove them wrong energy. But the viewers just didn't have the framework to process her.
Right. They couldn't reconcile her multifaceted reality with the predictable archetypes they expect from dating shows.
Exactly.
And if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead. Because that friction is what sparked one of the most bizarre online obsessions of the year.
Oh, the rumor mill was out of control.
Once she hit the screen, platforms like TikTok and X were absolutely flooded with viewers aggressively insisting that Beatriz was either a closeted lesbian or just a queer woman who didn't know she was queer yet.
The sheer volume of these posts was overwhelming. And what is most fascinating and frankly disturbing is the evidence these online detectives were using.
It felt like algorithmic profiling. You know how a flawed algorithm takes 3 random data points and autofills an incorrect conclusion?
Yeah, totally.
The audience looked at her athletic build, her self-described tomboy aesthetic, and her deeper voice, and decided that was undeniable proof of her sexuality.
Which brings us to that brilliantly argued piece by Johanna Ferreira in Hippolytina. The article pointed out that viewers were completely erasing Beatriz's cultural context.
Right.
They highlighted a viral tweet that perfectly summarized it. People were calling Beatriz masculine, and the tweet just said, she just talks like a fuamomo.
Right. She is a Chicana athlete from San Diego. Her cadence, her vocabulary, her posture, it is deeply rooted in her specific cultural background.
But the internet just stripped all of that away to force her into a narrative they preferred.
The irony is profound. Now, we're just impartially reporting what the article argued here, but it makes a broader sociological point. These online spaces heavily brand themselves as progressive and inclusive, but they were aggressively assigning a sexual identity to a total stranger, based entirely on outdated, conservative tropes of how a woman is supposed to behave.
Like, if she has muscles and a deep voice, she must be gay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to push back on the fans who said, oh, we're just harmlessly speculating. Because ultimately, isn't this online behavior just a shiny, modern, supposedly woke version of the exact same bullying she faced as a kid?
That is the crucial insight. The article frames this as identity policing. It argues that treating a human being's identity as a puzzle is a fundamental violation of personal autonomy.
Absolutely.
When you assign labels to a stranger online, you are essentially telling them, I know you better than you know yourself. its dominance masquerading as fandom.
And for someone who fought so hard to reclaim her physical autonomy,
Right.
to have millions try to strip her psychological autonomy away is incredibly dark.
And they completely ignored her actual words on the show.
Yes, she wasn't hiding how she felt. She had this deeply vulnerable conversation with her fellow islander, Melanie.
Right. She explicitly opened up about feeling overlooked by men because she doesn't fit into those conventional, dainty expectations of femininity.
She handed the audience her emotional context right there on screen. She explained herself perfectly. But the internet was so consumed by their own fan fiction that they tuned out the actual human being talking to them.
It perfectly illustrates the psychological vacuum of reality television. We crave neat little boxes, and when a reality star refuses to step into the box we built for them, the audience doubles down on their own fiction.
But wait till you hear what came next. Because while the internet was busy scripting this nuanced indie film about a closeted woman coming of age, Beatrice's actual experience was way more chaotic.
Oh, her response to these rumors proved to be far more entertaining than any of the online discourse.
The contrast between the internet's version of Beatrice and the real Beatrice is where this story achieves iconic status. Let's look at the viral YouTube and TikTok response video.
Yes, the hotel room video.
This happens right after she is dumped from the island. She gets her phone back, she's in her hotel room, and she gets on a FaceTime call with a friend who is catching her up on the gossip.
The setup is so candid. You see the friend looking through the phone, and she says to Beatrice, "Bro, these beaches swear that you're gay."
And you watch Beatrice's jaw physically drop.
She was visibly stunned. She clearly had no idea this was the narrative forming around her.
But what's so impressive is how quickly she diagnoses the rumor. Within seconds, she points out the exact stereotype, saying athletes are always put in that box like, if you're a female athlete, you're probably gay.
And then she stares into the camera and delivers one of the most blunt clapbacks in recent reality TV memory.
I love it so much.
She says, "I'm just a tomboy, let me live my life. I love DK, please."
It is the ultimate puncture wound to the internet's fubble. In 2 sentences, she completely dismantled weeks of aggressive online profiling.
And if the audience had actually been paying attention to her dating history, which she openly discussed on the show, they would have realized how far off base they were.
Right. She talked candidly about her past, revealing she had been in a highly toxic, on-again, off-again relationship for 3 years.
And the partner was a man who was 20 years older than her. She was in her early 20s, navigating a messy dynamic with a 45-year-old man.
It is the absolute antithesis of the narrative the internet wanted for her. And her actual romantic arc inside the Love Island villa was just pure, unadulterated reality TV chaos.
Oh, totally. She started out coupled up with Sean Rifle, but the moment the 26-year-old Brazilian bombshell Gabriel Vasconcelos walked in, she pivoted.
They had this instant magnetic bond over speaking Spanish. We saw steamy kisses. We saw a genuine connection forming. It was a classic dating storyline.
But the romance was highly volatile. Despite their strong initial connection, Gabriel ended up pulling a move that the show's narrator, Ian Sterling, brilliantly dubbed a reverse Leonardo DiCaprio.
That is so funny.
Gabriel casually admitted to having a past fling with a 52-year-old woman, completely flipping the script on the older man, younger woman dynamic Beatrice was used to.
As the days went on, Gabriel's eyes started to wander. He kissed 2 new bombshells, Saul Dean and Jen Terry.
And because of the mechanics of the game, the fans voted to keep the new bombshells safe. Gabriel was ultimately matched with Jen.
This left our history-making Paralympian single, resulting in Beatrice being dumped from the island on day 10.
It was a genuinely emotional exit. Gabriel pulled her aside and praised her character, telling her she is an incredibly strong person who deserves everything she wants.
It was a poignant reality TV exit, entirely grounded in the messy reality of heterosexual dating dynamics.
Which forces us to ask, why do audiences do this? Why do millions of people ignore the factual, documented reality playing out on screen just to construct a completely baseless alternate reality?
Later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming regarding what this means for reality TV overall.
It's all about the mechanics of parasocial relationships.
Break that down for me, because we see parasocial relationships in scripted television too. Fans obsess over fictional characters all the time. Why is the reality TV version so much more invasive?
Because of the illusion of access. When you watch a scripted show, you know there is a writer's room. But reality TV markets itself as unfiltered truth.
Right.
It offers the illusion that you are getting raw, intimate access to a real person's psychology. This creates a psychological vacuum. Viewers feel entitled to project their own desires and cultural expectations onto these people.
And social media amplifies this by giving viewers a platform to collaboratively write a script for a person who never asked for one.
It is incredibly easy to forget that these are three-dimensional human beings with complex, lived histories. Like surviving 11 surgeries and dropping a 30-pound heavier prosthetic blade to win a Paralympic medal.
Yeah, and when a real person deviates from the script the internet has collectively written for them, the internet feels betrayed. So rather than admit they misread the person, they insist the person is hiding something.
That is a staggering realization. They would rather accuse a stranger of being in the closet than admit their own internal radar was broken.
It is a profound lack of empathy disguised as deep engagement.
Precisely. And Beatriz Hatz, because of her immense resilience and her refusal to be categorized, was uniquely equipped to brush it off and laugh at the absurdity of it. But not everyone has that kind of armor.
Which brings us to the deeper takeaway for all of us. Because as easy as it is to point fingers at the internet as some abstract mob, you and I participate in this behavior too.
Oh, definitely.
We all do it to some extent in our daily lives. You, listening to this right now, have likely quickly categorized the people in your life based on a few scattered data points.
Maybe it's the way a new coworker dresses, or the specific cadence of a barista's voice.
Right. Our brains are constantly acting like that flawed algorithm, trying to autofill the rest of the picture so we feel like we understand our environment.
It is a natural cognitive bias, but Beatriz's story serves as a glaring warning about the dangers of relying on those shortcuts. When we autofill a person's identity, we strip them of their voice.
And the lesson here is simple but incredibly difficult to practice. When someone tells you who they are, you have to believe them.
You have to stop searching for hidden clues that validate your preconceived notions.
Beatriz showed up as her authentic, loud, resilient self, and the internet tried to stuff her into a box. But just as she proved on the track, and in that hotel room FaceTime call, she simply refuses to stay in the lane people try to force her into.
She really does.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to mull over. As reality TV audiences become increasingly desperate to uncover hidden truths about the cast, are we actually creating an environment where true authenticity is completely impossible?
That is such a good question.
Think about the incentives we are creating. If being your messy, complex, authentic self on television guarantees that millions of strangers will psychologically profile you and assign you a completely fabricated identity, who is going to want to participate?
Right. Eventually, won't the only people willing to go on these shows be the ones playing a carefully, artificially crafted character designed specifically to placate the algorithm?
Exactly. If we consistently punish the real by writing fiction about them, won't we eventually just be left with the fake?
That is definitely something to think about.
You have been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.